Before earning the moniker the People's Pope,
Sono vicino alle popolazioni di Cuba e della...
Pope Francis was born in 1936 as Jorge Mario Bergoglio, the Argentine-born son of Italian immigrants. As a youth, he worked as a bar bouncer at a nightclub and considered a career in chemistry before entering Jesuit school in 1958. There, he rose through the ranks, becoming a priest, Archbishop of Buenos Aires, and finally a cardinal in 2001. He took his place in the papacy in 2013 as the first Latin American and first Jesuit pope. His namesake was after St. Francis of Assisi, the patron saint of the poor, a name he worked to live up to, paying his own hotel bills and urging people not to travel to Rome to celebrate his rise to pope, but to give that money instead to the poor. Much of his teachings were focused on the impoverished, denouncing certain tenets of capitalism in early writings, remarking, "How can it be that it is not a news item when an elderly homeless person dies of exposure, but it is news when the stock market loses 2 points?" He also worked to bring attention to the environment in his writings, calling the planet our common home and seeking to reconcile the call of the faithful to stewardship of the earth. But he struggled to deal with a church marred by financial scandal and global allegations of sex abuse and cover-ups. In 2018, he took a small step in reconciliation, apologizing to abuse survivors after defending a Chilean bishop accused of turning a blind eye to abuse. The next year, Pope Francis formally defrocked Cardinal Theodore McCarrick, who was accused of abusing men and children for decades. And he helped establish a handbook that encouraged clergy members to report sexual abuse allegations to legal authorities. He also addressed other areas of contention, including the role of women in the church, placing women in more senior roles at the Vatican, and apologizing to Indigenous people in Canada who'd been abused by Catholic-run schools. Perhaps inclusive stances and focus on issues of social justice often put him at odds with more conservative members of the church. In 2023, Bishop Joseph Strickland, a conservative and frequent critic of the Pope, was relieved of duty following an investigation. Francis didn't shy away from international political conflicts, placing himself at the center of Russia's war with Ukraine, allowing a Ukrainian and Russian woman to participate together in Easter services, and repeatedly calling for an end to the violence. He also met with Israeli and Palestinian families impacted by the war, praying for both sides and calling the conflict terrorism, a comment that stirred controversy in Israel. Later in his papacy, he was frequently hospitalized and suffered from nerve pain, mobility issues, and respiratory illnesses. Francis hinted at stepping down in 2022, saying the door was open to a resignation, and, quote,